I think it's a veteran group. I think they've taken to coaching. I think Coach Tarante's done a great job with them. They've responded to his teaching. And then I think our pressure has had something to do with it. I think we've affected quarterbacks and getting the ball off sooner than what they've wanted to. The numbers don't necessarily reflect that, but I think the affecting the quarterback has been pretty consistent. So I'd say those things combined. I think the biggest one would be this. It's a veteran group. They've been through it before.
Dave, you did a good job against this quarterback last year. Pressured him. He didn't hit many throws, but he appears to be maybe an improved player this year. What
Right.
do you see differently in him this year?
That's a good question. I think it's similar in that from a scheme standpoint, I think both years, last year and this year, they started out the year thinking they were one thing and kind of adjusting on the run. Last year, they started out two-back run, power, 22 personnel, traditional kind of Minnesota football, and the Ohio State game a year ago, they kind of found the quarterback run, and they almost exclusively quarterback run, and that helped. That helped us with your throwing stats there, because they're just going to run it, and that was their identity. Go back to the first game this year is versus TCU. A lot of quarterback run, more than any other game. And there's a few quarterback runs here and there, but not nearly as much as what they started. They found the running back, and they found play action pass, and that's their identity now. So they're a different team, and they've taken kind of the year to find it. And so it makes it difficult to be able to stack the box, play the run, and then have May and all those guys running free in the back end. It's a big difference from this last game where there really wasn't that threat.
Mm-hmm.
There's definitely is this threat now. They are a shot team for sure, and so that deep ball is going to be a big test.
Okay.
Yeah, he's practicing. No, we're working him back in. I think, or I know Jack will continue to get the start, and the thought is to get Chris's legs back into him and kind of reassess things going into the bowl game. But I think right now he gives us some depth. We've been kind of treading water, I think, a little bit in terms of the depth issue. So he gives you that, and depending on how the rest of the week goes, we'd like to be able to get him some work. I think he's earned it.
Is there anything in particular that you think you guys were missing with Chris out, or did Jack do a good job of kind of filling in for what Chris was giving you those first?
No, I think they've both done a real good job. I was happy with what Chris was doing when Chris was in there, and Jack is a vet. You put Jack anywhere, and he'll smile at you and give it 100%. And I just think, Chris has been inactive for a little bit based upon that injury, and so this is really the first, sweat he's been getting in a while. So we've got to just get him back into playing shape, and I think he'll be fine.
That freshman back that Minnesota settled on, the guy who had the big day against Illinois. What are his strengths?
He's got great vision, and he puts his pads down and gets north and south once he makes his cut. So they're zone read teams, the number one play, and so he'll bend that thing, and they'll try to get two guys on the defensive end, and real quick, so that defensive end's got to make a choice. And the quarterback has not been that big of a runner. I imagine with everything that's at stake at this one, he'll run a little bit more. But if that defensive end bends inside to the running back, then obviously quarterback's out. So they got you in a good spot.
Is there any big difference when it comes to Axe Week? Just the overall tension because it is such a huge rivalry game?
No, I think it is. I think the juice of practice has been different. I think the meetings have been different. I think the vets kind of fuel it. I know the coach will talk about it and bring it up in his meetings, but I think it's the meetings, if you want to call it that, sitting down in the locker room, walking to practice and walking off of practice, what it's going to be like, what it means, the guys that have come before them, the history of it, all that's very much there.
What do you remember from that little incident a couple years ago?
No, it's a great place to play. there's a definite rivalry. It was new for me that year,
Yeah.
but it just took that one game to kind of seal it. So I'm looking forward to it. I know that there's a lot of anticipation on both sides. I've heard the things coming out of their camp, and so I'm looking forward to Saturday. I know our guys are.
Minnesota hasn't won it in over a decade. Do you feel like there's more pressure with them, also with Hill this season and just the ups and downs with their season? Do you feel like there's almost more pressure on them than on you guys?
Yeah, I don't know. I know from our standpoint, we're still looking to play a complete game on defense, first through the fourth quarter. I think these last couple games we've finished perhaps stronger than what we started. I go back to the Maryland game and then this last one. So you sure would like to be able to start fast and kind of go all the way through with it. I think for a game like this, with as much as that's at stake and as hot as their offense has been, we're going to need to. So that's a challenge for us for sure.